Well, hello, this is Kimberly Brock, and for over 20 years, I've been running my own businesses that have not only been profitable, but personally fulfilling to me. So now I'm on a mission to help other new business owners, just like you, make money doing what you love too. Now we're going to have some fun, so let's get started. Well, hello, everyone. This is Kimberly. It's episode 294, and I am so glad that you are here today because I have a very special guest on the show. Her name is Allie Jones. She's owner of Jaml Jams out of Arkansas. Y'all have to hear this whole episode. Allie's story is so encouraging. You know why? Because it's proof that you can take something that you know and love, something that really fills your soul, and turn it into a business. Allie's story today talks about how she was making jam as a child with her mom and now has a full-time business with it. Y'all, she's doing amazing. She not only sells the jams to consumers, but has been featured in stores. And she's looking even to get a co-packer soon so she can expand her business. You'll get to hear all about it. She is so inspirational. She tells it like it is. And you are going to learn from her. Let me share too that down below in the show notes is all the information about Jaml Jams. So you're going to want to follow her on Instagram and go to her website, maybe even get on her email list and all that good stuff because you don't want to miss a beat about how she's built her company, y'all. It's just so amazing. Allie and I met a few years ago. I think it was right after COVID when she was like, maybe I should start this business. And she got in Grow Getters and I was able to work with her. And that's why I had to feature her on the show because you have to see proof like Allie that this can happen for you too. In just a few short years, you can build a thriving business, even out of something that you may not even think could be a full-on business. Her jams are proof that she is well loved in her community. And what I think is really key about her business is that she's been able to give back and spread joy through her jams. You get to hear all about it. Make sure you listen all the way through because she really, even at the end, gives us some tips of wisdom that I know will help you along your journey. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you found this podcast because this episode is just an example of what can happen for you. If you're in the middle of starting a business, maybe it's a coaching business, maybe it's a service business, maybe it's even just an online business somehow or local business, like Allie's, make sure you scroll down in the show notes now because I've got all types of resources for you, okay? Everything from your idea stage to starting to growing and even how to get your podcast rolling if you want to grow online. So check out everything down below. There's resources for you that you don't want to miss out on. And I'm just so glad you're here today to hear this episode. Thank you to all my loyal listeners. Y'all are awesome and wonderful. And Allie, thanks for being on the show. I'm so excited that I get to share you with the world. So that's it. On to the episode. Well, Allie, I am so excited to have you on the show. I have been wanting to share you with everyone for a while now. Your story is amazing, and I'm just so honored that you agreed to be on the show.
Well, thank you for asking.
Yes.
I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited to hear about your jams. And I shared with everyone in the intro about your business and what's going on and why you're here. And I can't wait for you to share your story because I think your story is so relatable to especially women out there. And I'm just so excited for you to kick this off. So tell us from the beginning how this all started. And we also have to hear how you got your name because everyone needs to know how we got Jaml Jams. So I got to hear all the story. So tell us from the beginning how this all started.
Okay. Well, it did start like a long time ago, almost at the very beginning of my life because I am 36 and this started when I was 6. My mom loved making jams and jellies. She was a nurse. And so when she first started learning to make jams and jellies, she was an assistant nurse manager at the VA hospital, and her nurse manager wanted to make gifts for their staff one year. And so she's like, I know how to make jam and jelly. Come over to my house and I'll teach you and we can make some together. And so my mom, my older sister and I went to Miss Jan's house and we made, I think, plum jelly and muscadine jelly. And after making it, we were hooked. My mom loved it. I loved it. And so my mom made jam every year. Usually it was strawberry jam. And she would take my sister and I to go pick the strawberries and we would make jam. And usually we would freeze it and save it and give it as Christmas gifts. Well, when I got married, I just continued on with it. I loved the kitchen. was just like my place of relaxation, my place of joy,
Mm,
it's just my place of, I think how I feel like I could take care of people through food. And so I got married. Jamel was an active duty infantry officer, and we moved around the country. And as we moved around the country, I would test different fruits from different areas. So, like, of course, Georgia, the peaches, North Carolina grew great strawberries. I loved the cherries in Kansas. So I just would try the different fruit and make jam and share it with my friends. And then as Jamel was a platoon leader and then a company commander, I would gift the jams to our volunteers. And that's just kind of how it kept going. I mean, I was just giving it out of love and to say
yes.
thank you to people. And I remember when we had our daughter, her name is Madeline. And I thought, wow, I love jam. And our initials spelled jam. How cute is that?
Mm,
Jamel, Allie, and Madeline. And then in 2020, we had our son Langston. And I was just playing with, I guess, the business idea in my head. Because
right.
what else was everybody doing in 2020? Like, we were all stuck at home coming up with businesses. And I realized that our name spelled Jamel, which is almost my husband's first name minus the E.
Right.
And I was like, "Ooh, that's a perfect name for our business." Well, it wasn't a business. It was just the perfect name for our gym. I just wanted to
Yes.
brand it as I gifted it to people. And so that's how we became Jaml Jams.
I mean, it's just so crazy. I just love that you had a passion for this and that you were giving it to people from your heart. Like, I have a friend that does
Yeah.
this, one of my daughter's best friends. Her mom's always baking and doing stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to back you whenever you open your bakery or do something because she just does it out of her heart. But we're getting
Yeah.
macaroons and all this stuff. She makes amazing food. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. So I get that and how good it must feel to just like, I want to create something for other people and the volunteers. I love how you were doing that. So I think it's awesome. And then you went on to like, okay, we need like a little name for this, sort of a little brand, even though it wasn't like a business yet. So you said it was 2020, you were home doing all this. How did it then like what was that moment or what was it that turned it into like, oh, maybe I could actually make a business out of this?
Yeah. So at the end of 2020, we moved from Kansas to Georgia.
Okay.
And my husband, his next assignment, he was just busy. He was gone a lot.
Right.
And so I was home a lot
Right.
with kids a lot.
Yeah.
And also our part of our community, or he was with the Rangers. And so everybody was gone a lot. And so I wanted to do something that would make other people smile, like our
Right.
Army community lived on post. And so I was like, hey, I can start making jam. And I also felt like I wanted to do something outside of my mom and wife roles,
Mhm.
um, and something that I just felt like I kind of was using my brain in a different way,
Right.
but also blessing other people in the same time. And so I
Mhm.
was like, well, what can I do? I didn't have time to learn a new skill. Being home was very, very important to me. And so I thought, well, what do I have in my hand? And jam was what I had in my hand. I was very comfortable with it. I had a lot of confidence in it. I feel like I had some authority in it a little bit. I knew enough to make it and tell people the difference between jam and jelly because that's the question that everybody always asks. So that's just what I chose to do. And I was like, okay, I can do this. I joined a small like women's business group and found some encouragement there. And the coach there was like, take $250 and open your business and sell it and get that 250 back. And so it's like, okay, I can do this. And
Yeah.
so I started on a Mother's Day weekend selling my jam.
I mean, it's just so crazy. And I love what you said. And I have to repeat this for everybody that's maybe in the idea stage. You want to have something all your own. You want a creative outlet. You want to impact people's lives in some way, bring joy or whatever it is. I love what you said. What do I have in my hand? And I want people to think about that right now. All of you listening, like if you've been thinking like I could have a business, but do I have time to go back to school or get certified or do whatever? Is there something that I have in my hand? Is there something before me? Is there something that people have already been telling me or asking, me about and getting my advice on or that I'm already good at? That's what you could turn into a business. So I love that. And I want everyone to remember that. What do I have in my hand? Because I think that's super crucial. So you did that. You said, what do I have in my hand? Then you joined a business. Was this a local business group or an online business group?
It was online. It was
Mm.
Christy Wright's business
Yes.
boutique group.
Y
So I started it and I didn't have a website at all. I was like, okay, I'm just
Okay.
going to do this. As you like to say, Kimberly, I wanted to keep it simple. And
Right.
so I just let my Facebook community know that I was going to start selling my jams.
Right.
And I gave everyone a week's notice.
Okay.
And the next week I came back and I had two offerings. I had strawberry jam and dandelion jelly. And I sold out. And I was very surprised. I couldn't believe it. But what surprised me even more is that I didn't just have local friends purchasing, I had people in different states purchasing and paying the shipping because I didn't have shipping set up. I was going to the post office using their beautiful
Oh
boxes,
gosh. Oh gosh. Yes.
to ship with. My jams were just in the Walmart jars with, the two-part screw-on lid,
Yes.
but
Yes.
it's not the vibe that my company looks like now.
Right.
But I knew kind of what I wanted it to look like, but I just didn't have those resources available at that time. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to do with what I can. And people bought it and people paid the shipping and they
Mhm.
supported me and then they shared it with their friends. And I just, as the seasons continued, the growing seasons, I just kept adding on flavors. And every time I would add on a flavor, like it would sell
I
out.
mean,
And it's just continued to be that way.
I bet you were just so shocked, but I love it that you said you didn't have a website. So for everyone listening, you can get started without a website. You don't have to delay this. You can put it out there. You said that you put it out there on your Facebook community. Did you mean like your Facebook page, just your personal
So
Facebook
just my
page?
friends. Yeah. I know that I tagged my husband. I'm pretty sure I tagged my sister and my mom and my dad.
I love
Yeah.
it so much. I mean, just starting in that simple, raw form. Y'all, do
Yeah.
you see how simple this is, everyone? Are you listening? Like she said, she kept it simple. She knows that's one of my little tag phrases there because I believe in that. Otherwise, if it's complicated or you're trying to perfect it, you would never get going. Like, I want everyone to think about too. If she had said, I can't sell my jams until I have the most amazing website and I have all this shipping figured out, how much longer would it have been? Like, she's doing it so intelligently here, starting out and reaching out to her current community of friends and family, because then she's got revenue coming in and she's got kind of proof of concept here of like, oh, people actually do want to buy this and pay exorbitant shipping prices. Like, I'm sure you were just mind blown. I'm picturing you sitting there going, "Wait, what? People,
It really was.
I mean, they can go buy jam at the grocery store. They can
Right.
go like, what do you think it was? What do you think it was at that time that was appealing for people to buy?"
Okay. So I've thought about this and part part of my answer is that people knew me. I mean, I was selling to my
Right,
friends and my
right.
family. And so they knew that it was good because they'd had it
Okay.
gifted to them.
Yes, that's true.
But
Right, right.
yeah, and so that I did have good, what would you call that? I'm missing
The
the word.
business term would be social proof, but like a
Yes.
reputation, people
Yes,
knew
I
that it was
did
good.
exactly. I had that. But I feel like I really want my jam to bring connection to people, like when they eat it and they're sitting around, and I feel like that's kind of the vibe that I gave off when I did share my jam. Like I was really excited about it, and a lot of
Mm,
times we did eat it with people. It just, I hope it
mm.
created in my head. It just created this warmth. It wasn't like, yes, you can go get this off of the shelf at Walmart. For one, the ingredients are very different,
Yes.
but I think the story that went along with it, like, and in those days, we were picking the fruit ourselves a lot of times. And so it was Jamel helping me when he could make it, or my kids would help me pick. They couldn't help me make it. But it was just this warm feeling of family and I think connection, but definitely the fact that people had tried it before. I mean, I'm telling you, there were so many soldiers that ate jam and had it gifted and given to them.
So
Like,
sweet. I love that
they,
so much.
so
It
they
just
wanted it.
Yes, and it gives them, like, a sense of home as well too, like, just this warm,
Yes.
fuzzy feeling I
Yes.
think you get from the jam, and that's just so wonderful. So another point from that for people that are starting their business is that you can gift things for free to people for a while to test it out, and, Like either you just start and you can discount it, or you can do like what Allie did, where it kind of stems from this passion where you're gifting it to people just because your heart and soul is in it. And then you've already got the social proof. So you feel more confident when you're actually selling it. Just like you said, you already knew the smiles that it brought on people's faces and that it was good. So you kind of had this, or you had this confidence that
Yeah.
it's good. And you were excited about it. So everyone listening, when you're out there talking about your products or services, you need to be enthusiastic and excited about it, or people aren't going to be as excited. So I love that as well. I think that's awesome. So you did that. Now, is this about when you and I met? I'm trying to remember how our intersection happened.
About that time, because I think I had been selling jam. I started in May of 2021, and I think it was around the year mark that I had been selling it because we were just yeah, because we were deciding to get out of active duty, and I knew that we were gonna be moving, and I wasn't sure. And this makes me laugh now because I was just like, "How is my little jam business gonna survive without my Army community?" But we moved and I met you,
Yes.
and you were so encouraging in all of the things that you taught, and I was like, "I've gotta join her group if I want this to keep
Mhm.
going and to continue to grow, I need to join her group." And so I did, and then we moved home to Arkansas, which was
Okay.
the best thing, honestly, for Jaml Jams anyway, because as an Army family, had we continued to move, every state has different laws when it comes to, like, producing food in your home, which is what I
Right.
started out doing.
Mm.
And Arkansas is a very friendly state to make food out of your kitchen. We used to
Mm.
operate under the cottage law. Now it's the Arkansas Food Freedom Act. Several states are starting to adopt that. And so that gave me
Mm.
some more liberty to be able to sell and make things from my home, but also still sell in like other stores, to get wholesale partners.
Right.
And I don't, I might be jumping ahead of the story. I'm not in my kitchen
No.
anymore at home,
Yeah.
but yeah, I
Yeah.
think I met you around that time.
Yeah, because I remember in the beginning, like, you had your jams and then you were like, "I wanna get into some kind of, like," I don't wanna say boutiques, but other specialty stores where I could sell the jams, and you were like, "Oh my gosh, how do I price this? Like, what am I doing?" And we were working through that, but that can be a scary time when you decide, "Hey, I can sell to consumer, but you know what? There's this opportunity to sell in bulk to stores, and that's a great avenue." So what was that like for you? Share that experience of, like, maybe going into a store. How did you approach the stores? Like, what was your first step to do that, to try to get in there?
Okay, this is my story is unique in that there is not one wholesale business that I have approached.
Mm, okay.
I guess the first one, it was kind of strategic on my end, but we didn't ask to be in. The offer was made to us. So
Mm,
I'll try to make this a very long story short. So we
okay.
moved to Arkansas, and I realized when we moved that we were down the street from this little small bakery. And I was like, there's a bakery. That'd be fun to sell jams in the bakery.
Mhm,
Well, so one day I took my son in and we bought some cookies. And when we were leaving the store, he was so excited, he started dancing. And so I got a little video of him dancing and I posted it. I think I'd put it on Jaml Jams Facebook page, but I tagged the bakery.
mhm, yes.
And so they liked it. And like a couple of days later, my husband went in on a Saturday morning to buy some cinnamon rolls. And
Mm,
my husband can talk to any and everybody. And somehow he started talking to the bakery owner and he was like, "Yeah, my son was in here with my wife and he was so excited. He was dancing." And they're like, "It's yours?" And then my husband started talking about jams and how we make jams and our process of making them. And they had some jams and jellies that they weren't selling at that point, but they were using them in their products. And that company was using like Kool-Aid and different things like that to get the colorings of their
oh,
for their product. And so my husband was like, "Yeah, you don't have to use artificial things to get colorings," and just started chit-chatting, and they were like, "We would really like to talk more with y'all." And that's what opened the door. And so we started selling to them, and then we started selling to a boutique next door. It's actually Mars Mercantile. they opened right next door to this bakery, and we got connected with them, and they invited us in. And every business that we are in now there's just been some kind of community connection. I went to a pretzel making class, and the lady that was teaching that pretzel making class was going to be opening a sourdough bakery. And we became friends, and she was like, I would love to sell your jams there. And then,
Mm,
everything has happened through relationship or through one of my customers saying, hey, you should
mhm,
sell her jams.
mhm.
So, yeah.
So crazy. And when you said sourdough too, I'm just reminded of this like massive trend of the sourdough bread and making. I
Yeah.
am like, what just happened? Like bread was completely demonized a few years
Yeah.
ago. And completely like do not touch any bread. And now sourdough. I even said something to my 16-year-old daughter about sourdough. She goes, I was like, what's going on? I mean, I love sourdough, but what's happening? She's like, Mom, it's gut friendly. And she was like going through all the things, and I was like,
That's it.
even the teenagers are in on the sourdough
It's good
bread.
for you.
Yes, and what a perfect timing, a perfect pairing to
Yeah.
have your jams, and I just think that's so cool. So you get in those first stores, and I'm sure you're like, "What just happened?" Like, I am now selling into stores, and then now you sell more in bulk. Is that right? Are you expected to be bringing in a certain amount of jars, or what is the expectations that the stores have with you? Like, how
Yeah.
does that work?
So right now my stores will just order. So I have two different ways. Actually, I'm going to back up just a little bit because you
Yeah,
were
yeah, yeah.
asking how those connections
Yes,
happened. And
yes.
this is a very important one. So in 23, I was able to join a course for food-based businesses in Northwest Arkansas. It's called
Mm,
Curate, and they
mm,
help mentor small business owners that in beverage and food to help them grow with the goal of getting them, more exposure
mhm,
for wholesale partnerships and all that kind of stuff. And so I was able to join that group and learn just so much. Well,
mm,
at the end of that, I think it was a 9-week course, we had a capstone project. And that capstone project, we collaborated with another business and presented a meal at a food festival, but we also like had a pitch that we created a video, and a panel of judges scored that, reviewed that, and then at the festival, we were all asked questions that we had to answer. Well, I won that pitch. It was awesome. And
what?
yeah,
Oh
it
my
was so
gosh.
cool. Won $5,000 for Jaml Jams. It
What?
was exciting.
Okay, that's amazing.
But my goal of doing that was not honestly to win. I just wanted to go and learn all that I could about what was happening in the food industry in Northwest Arkansas and who I could collaborate with and who I could partner with. And that made a huge difference for me, for my knowledge, but also it connected me to some businesses that I was able to put my jam in. And so I just want to encourage people, even if you feel like your business is so small and so tiny and you feel somewhat intimidated, if there is an opportunity for you to go learn somewhere, like go do it, because it gives you even more confidence, but it also gives you credibility in your space within the community and just kind of sets you apart
Mm.
if your goal is to continue to grow. And that doing that program I got several wholesale partnerships that way.
Ah, okay. So I see
Um,
how this all comes together. I'm so glad you shared that because that's an important piece of your
yeah,
story is
yes,
winning that, getting recognized, getting the clout among your community, the
yes,
respect, and your name's out there. And that's a
exactly.
massive win. So yes,
Right.
so people getting connected in your community and it within your industry. So I think that's key and super good advice for everyone
Yeah.
listening. If you've got a local business, I mean, even if you're online too, but especially, and I know
Yes.
that there's so much regulation that I don't know about that has to do with the food industry. And I'm sure you've learned so much, but that's key. That's key for
Yes.
your business and understanding that. So now your name is getting out there and then people are reaching out to you. What a relief that you don't have to go knocking on doors and trying to, convince people to buy your jams, that they're reaching out to you because of your exposure in the community. So you start doing that and then based on what I had asked earlier, just so people know, like how does it work with selling wholesale?
Yeah. So through the Curate program that I am, we have a community profile there that businesses can order through. And so they submit I keep an ongoing, like, what I have available. And so I have companies that will order through there, like Tyson Foods for their employee kitchen,
What?
Walmart. Yeah,
What?
I know.
Did they
What?
reach
That's what I
out to
said
you?
when I first saw it. Walmart is headquarters in Bentonville. I don't live far from there, and they just opened up their new campus. And so I'm selling there
What?
in their employee like food court. And they've used us in some of their like smoothies and different things like that, their shakes.
Oh
Like it's
my.
so much fun. So they submit their orders that way, some of my larger
Okay.
wholesale partnerships. And then like my smaller stores, they will just send me an email and say, this is what we would like to order.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. So just
and
as
I
needed, and then
Yep,
you fulfill that.
yes, and I like to set my order requirements, like, in cases of 6. So, I have a couple of, like, little very small businesses that, I'll
Right.
make room for, but that I
Yes.
try to do it in those increments just so
Yes.
it's easier,
Yes.
for me.
So wait, so how did you get into Tyson and Walmart? How did that
That was
happen?
all Curate. Because
Oh,
they curate as a program, they have relationships,
mm,
with these businesses and these companies. And so that's how they are connecting the small businesses to these larger companies and helping us grow, um, and
wow. So
empower.
through that,
Yeah.
yes. Oh my goodness. Okay. So now you get into Walmart and Tyson. This is crazy. And then what's next after that? Are you still making them out of your home?
No, I am not making them out of my home anymore. There's no way. I think my family was we were all getting sick of jam in this kitchen, let me tell you. We closed down our kitchen a whole lot because the mama was making jam.
You're
We
like,
are
no
now
one
in a
in
co
here. No
like,
one.
no, everybody get it out. You can have a sandwich or you can have takeout, like, it was sad. But I was only able to make 6 jars at a time pretty much for 9-ounce jars, like, every batch would make, like, 6 jars at a time.
Wow.
So it was
Okay.
exhausting.
Yeah.
And so, thankfully, again, I live in Arkansas, and the U of A is here, and they have Arkansas Food Innovation Center. It's a commercial kitchen where many small food businesses start their food operations out of. And so it's a commercial kitchen that I can go in and rent the space. And instead of making 6 jars at a time, right now I'm up to about 45 jars at a time in the kettle that I'm in. I will, and that's just because that's just where I'm starting. Like this kettle can make, I think, 120 at a time, and then the next kettle will make a couple hundred at a time, and then beyond that, there's like one that I don't even know how many it makes, probably like 1,000 or something. And
Right.
so, yeah, there's lots of room to grow. I'm in this kitchen, and it has given me a little bit of life back. It's very
I
exciting.
mean, I can't believe it. So you get in the commercial kitchen, other businesses. So you do like you rent it at certain times of the
Mhm.
day or the week, or do you have to schedule it? You have to
Yeah,
schedule.
we schedule it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you go and like, what are some of the other things that have you seen others cooking in there? What they're
Yes.
making? Okay. So
Yes,
what? I just
there's
have to
some good
hear.
stuff. So, oh man, there's like vegan, nuggets,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
protein bars,
Mm.
cookies, all kinds of different condiments and sauces like I'm doing, margarita mixes,
Oh,
um,
this is
literally anything that you can think of.
that is so fun because you're surrounded by these people that are like you that have for the passion for something
Yeah.
that they're creating and they put a lot of heart and soul into that, I know. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So you have the commercial kitchen now. So now you can get it out of your house. You actually feel like your home is your home and it's not a
Yes.
commercial
I
kitchen.
do. Yes, I feel like because usually I'm there on Mondays. I do need to add another
Oh,
day because business is continuing to pick up, which is great. But I'm like, okay, now I need to add another day to this commercial kitchen. But it is very nice because now I feel like jam is my joy again because
yeah.
it was starting to get a little heavy.
Yeah. I'm glad you shared
But
that. People need to know that
yes,
happens.
yes, which is good. I mean, it was turning into a business,
Right.
and I needed
Right.
to
Right.
scale and I needed to move up to the next level, or else I wouldn't have been able to sustain what I was doing, or I just would have had to stop right there and I wouldn't have been
Right.
able to expand anymore.
Right.
Um, and so now it is nice to kind of like go to work and then come back home. And I feel like my creative juices are kind of flowing again
Mhm.
because jam is at the kitchen and at home again. It's
Yes.
Yeah.
It's home again. Yes, you got the separation of the 2, and I totally get that. Because when I had my online boutiques, I had so much inventory in my house of bags and nap mats and all that where it's like, "Oh my gosh, we have to get this separated." So I get that feeling very much so. Okay, so now you have your commercial kitchen. Your business is growing. Your revenue streams are direct to consumer on your Shopify website. Then you have wholesale to the little stores and then also to Walmart and Tyson and places like that. Where do you see it growing from there?
Oh my goodness, Kimberly. I don't know, but I do know that I think my next step is that for a couple of my flavors, at least, I honestly feel like I need a co-packer.
Right, and to share what a
Be-
co-packer does for people who
So
don't know.
that's, yeah, so that's someone that will make your product for you. Like you can give them
Mm,
your recipe and they're able to do it in larger
mhm,
quantities. And I feel like I need to do that because there are a couple of
mhm.
flavors like our blueberry champagne and pink pineapple
Oh my
and
gosh,
cinnamon
yum.
peach that I
Sounds
just
amazing.
cannot, yeah, it is. I can't keep. And
Yeah,
so I feel like that feels a little bit scary,
yeah.
but I think I have a very trusted source
Oh,
to go
that's good.
to do, yeah.
Because
Um,
that's what, like, came to mind right when you said that. All I could think about was protecting your recipe
yeah,
and all for all the people that use co-packers. How does that work within that? Just because I don't know anything about that type of
yeah.
industry, how is it protected? Are there, like, legal documents that basically this
Yeah,
cannot
you
be
do
shared?
sign a non-disclosure agreement, so they'll sign one, so they're not, able to share my recipe.
Yeah.
Uh, and, like, because you have I can't remember, I think it's called white labeled, like, that is a way that, like, I had a boutique and I wanted to sell jam, I could go buy this jam and I could put my label on it. It could be the same recipe that
Mm.
other stores
Mhm,
had.
mhm.
But I don't want my jam to be able to be used. Like, I want my jam to only be Jaml Jams. And so
Right.
they will sign a non-disclosure for me. They can't use it for anybody else. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember seeing something one time about Coca-Cola, and the recipe was so protected by their family. Have you heard about that before? I remember reading
Yeah.
about that.
Yes, you should listen to Business Wars. I've actually listened to them,
Oh.
Pepsi versus Coca-Cola right now. Yes, and it's all
Mm.
about that.
It is? Okay, yeah, I'm
Yes.
gonna have to Business Wars, okay, Pepsi versus Coca-Cola. Yeah, I just remember it's so protected because people can kinda try to figure out the ingredients, but it's like the proportion and how they I don't know. I don't know anything about that, but I was like, "Whoa, you do have to protect it because other people could use it," but that's amazing. So getting a co-packer could be your next step. You have a trusted source. And then that would mean what for you? You would have more produced so that you could sell more to more businesses, or what do you think?
Yes. Yeah, more businesses, and it would just free me up from having to be in the kitchen all the
Mm.
time and
Oh,
allow
'cause
me
you're
to,
uh,
yeah, because 'cause I'm making it, and then that would allow me to go to more stores if I want to, and offer Jaml Gems, make partnerships, just do the things that only I can do, and
yes.
and again, give me that creative space. Right now, I'm doing all the things, like,
Yes.
sourcing the fruit and making the jam and remembering to order the jars and sending invoices and shipping and delivering, all of those things. And so it's a lot. And I do have help in the kitchen, but it would just give me some more room.
Yes. Yes. That's awesome. Well, I know you had mentioned before that you may be starting to teach a jam class. Is that right?
Yes,
Tell us more. Tell us more. We
yes,
need to know.
yeah. So in June, and I'm sharing because they shared it already. So
Yeah.
in June, Mars on Main is a store here in Bentonville, Arkansas, and it's owned by HGTV personalities Dave and Jenny Mars, and
Mm.
they have just been amazing partners for Jamel Jams and selling our products. And I've been invited to come teach a jam class or to go
What?
teach a jam class. And so, yeah,
So fun.
in June we are going to make some blueberry jam and, yeah, see if we can get other people spread some joy and jam.
Yes, and empower them. It makes me think of Annalisa in Grow Getters as well, where she was making candles. She has her candle line that empowers women, and they're really cool. I actually have one of her candles back here somewhere. Anyways, and I've seen now she's doing that. Like she has a store where she's selling her candles, but she's teaching candle making classes, fun for events and parties. So everyone out there who makes something, even though you have something that's proprietary and that's yours, it's really cool to empower others and to teach others. It's such a fun way to get people together. Everyone's so sick of being on social media and doing all these things, and now you can bring community together by hosting these fun classes and giving joy to others where they can create too. So I think that that is so cool. So you'll be teaching that in June at Mars on Main. So that's awesome. And then tell us too what else this business has enabled for you. I know you've been able to donate to nonprofits and stuff. So if you'd share a little bit about that, I think that's cool.
Yeah. So one thing we say about Jaml Jams products is that our jars are giving jars, and we want to be able to contribute to community organizations. And so we do that throughout the year, and we don't always I don't always talk about it. We just give, but every now and then I like to just check in and let people know like, hey, we're still giving and gifting. And so one of the most rewarding gifts that we were able to do is sponsor a kitchen in a new home in our area called Cradle of Hope. And it is a home for teenage moms and their babies. And they can go and live there while they're finishing school, trying to get back on their feet.
Mhm.
And they just opened a couple of months ago. What month? We're in May now? I think they opened
Mhm.
in April. April was the grand opening.
Oh,
And
wow.
so we were able to give and sponsor their kitchen. So they have all the
That's
things that they need there. And
oh
that
my
was
goodness.
extremely, extremely, extremely rewarding.
I mean,
'Cause
that
our
is so wonderful.
yeah, our mission is to spread joy and jam to the world around us, to spread joy to the world around us by creating flavorful, edible products with lagniappe, which means a little something extra so that we ignite a culture of care, leaving people better than we find them. And so that is
Mhm.
honestly what we want to do is I want people to feel good when they eat our jam, when they see it, when they see the beautiful jars, when they share it with their friends and family. Obviously, we want it to taste good, but we also want people to know that when they purchase the jam, it's still giving. Like, we're
Right.
sourcing from local farms and gardens. We are selling in our local community, and then we're giving to our community. So we just again, we want it to spread joy in every part of the
So
process.
amazing. I mean, that's gotta feel so good. Like, not only being able to create the jams, but create opportunities for other people as well and empowering the teenage, new moms and just everything that you're able to do with it. It's just so inspiring. And Allie, it's so impressive what you have done. Like, I was looking through all of this and, we had talked a little before the podcast or you had sent me all your stuff, and I'm like, this is so impressive. I mean, from thinking about where you started, just in the beginning and this love for the jams to where you are now, being able to help others and empower others in your in stores and your commercial kitchen, it sounds like you've done everything right. Like, I literally feel that when I look at this, like every little step is just led to the next one. And you've been in business now 4 years, 4 years. And I think you said, was it last year was your most profitable year yet? Is that right?
Yes. Yes, it was.
I mean,
And that was
awesome.
that was amazing to sit down and look at the end of the year and be like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe, I hit this goal," because I set a goal at the beginning of the year, and I was like,
Yes.
"I will not reach it."
Yeah, yeah.
And we actually surpassed it. Uh, and so that was super exciting.
I mean, who knew that you could I just don't think people believe it when they're starting a business over something that they're just really passionate about, they love, maybe they don't think it's I just don't think people believe that. And what do you think was the source of your belief? Like, how I don't know, what was it in you that was just like, "Okay, I'm gonna take the next step. I'm gonna take the next step." Like, what was that?
Yeah. So I want to say I thought in some ways I thought it was really silly to start a business with jam and jelly. I was like, it's just jam. It's just jelly. But it was again what I had in my hand to offer to people to try to make a positive impact somehow. And I always wanted to give. Like, I wanted that to be part of the mission. And so I think that when something is a little bit bigger than yourself, it's not easy, but it's easier to keep going. It's easier to maybe see where it can go. The dream is a little bit different because it's not just about you. It wasn't just about me. It wasn't just like, "Oh, I just need to do this just for fun. I need something else to do." I didn't my goal wasn't necessarily to, bring income into my household. It really was outward focused, and so that was my goal, that was my dream, and I was like, "Okay, I can do this. I can make this work." Hope that answers the question.
Yes, it
It's
is,
just
and it Yeah, and you said it with such ease, but it's very important what you just said. And I think when you approach a business or something like this that you love, it has to be bigger than you. Like it's for others. I think a lot of times new business owners get wrapped up in themselves. I don't have this good enough. It's not perfect yet. I need to make it this most amazing thing. And I think when you focus on others instead of yourself, it will slowly evolve. You will start making progress and you can be smart about what you're doing because you're doing it to help them. And I think that is looks like it has been the focus of your business and just everything is just, evolved in the right direction. And I just think it's just so inspiring and it's so motivating for everyone who's listening today that you can do this. Allie is a perfect example. Just like she said, like, I didn't know, like, could you really do this? It's just jam. And I want everyone to never say it's just this. Whatever it is right now that you maybe you've already started your business or you're thinking about starting, it's more than just what it is. It's something bigger. You have to see it bigger because when you do, and you will make that progress, and then you can actually impact a lot more lives than you ever imagined. So, Allie, this has just been amazing. Is there any tips, anything you want to leave people with? I mean, I think that was great right there, but just anything else you want to share before we go?
Yeah. Okay. So I will speak just from who I am. I'm a mom,
Mhm.
and I started this business with little kids. Like babies were 15 months and 3 years old. So I did not have a
Mm.
lot of time. And I hit on it earlier. But if you have something, if you're wanting to start something, then I feel like what helped me was that I did something that I did know about. I did something that I used something that I was confident in, that I had some authority in. Most of the time when I was working and making jam, it was after they went to sleep and I just could kind of do it without thinking about it. I didn't have a lot of margin to learn a new skill. And so start with something that you know, something that you love, something that you're passionate about because again, that will come out kind of like you already said, Kimberly, when you're sharing it with others, you can just naturally talk about it. But then also just start because the same amount of time is going to pass. Like next year is going to be here. And so you might as well go ahead and start this year with whatever it is that you're
Yeah,
wanting to do, you know?
yeah,
Don't be your own roadblock.
yeah,
Um,
mhm.
yeah,
I
go
know a
for
lot
it.
of new Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, no. Well, then just one more thing. I think it's so awesome as a mom, you never know what your kids are going to pick up and
Mm,
learn from you. Like my mom was
mm.
doing this as a hobby. She was a nurse. She had a whole career. My sister's actually she's a physician and she got her love of medicine from my mom. She didn't get any of the love of medicine. Like I don't want anything to do with blood, anything like that. But I did pick up her love of being in the kitchen. And we sometimes just like, Mom, can you believe that you learned how to make jam and jelly and now it is like a profitable business for me? Like that's getting to bless and reward other people. And so I would just, that's just another little thing. Like you never know, moms, what your kids are learning from you. And so do the hard work, but also do that thing that you enjoy. Like do that thing that brings you rest and that hobby because you don't know what your kids are going to learn from you and what they're going to pick up and turn into something that will bless them and others.
It's so true. Like following your own passion can inspire those around you. And especially as a mom, your children, it's something that will, they could tell it makes you happy. So in turn, it creates good memories for them. And you just never know what that could turn into. Plus, just showing that you can go for something. I think it's cool that your mom had that career, but she like she allowed that time for herself to pursue something cool and teach y'all something at the same time when you were little. And now you're passing that on and you're showing your children, wow, if mom can do this, moms can go for it. It's not just they're not just doing one thing. They're able to have a business or and help the community. And I just think it's such a shining example of how we all can be. And I just applaud you, Allie. I think this is so wonderful. And I'm so honored to know you. And I'm so proud of you for all your hard work. And I just thank you for sharing your story with everyone. I think it's very inspiring.
Uh, Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you for encouraging us because I think there are probably many businesses that just wouldn't have had that push to keep going and again do it simple without
Yep.
you. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. You have impacted Jaml James for sure.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, thank you for that. Well, thank you for being on here, and we will talk soon.
Now, this episode may be over, but our relationship does not have to end here. head on over to KimberlyBrock.com. And yes, you can get more valuable information for your journey. And you know what? You don't need to go through this alone. I would love to help you. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.